Hello everyone, welcome to Immigration Diaries, My American Dream. I'm your host, Sujata Ramteke. We are bringing to you stories of immigrants from varied backgrounds from Hingham, Massachusetts area, and we hope to shed some light on the challenges and the triumphs experienced by them in America. And today we have with us Mr. Yu. Hello, Mr. Yu. Welcome to the show.
你好。
你好。
Ni hao. Yeah, that's correct, right?
Yes.
Mr. Yu, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what do you currently do?
他就说简单的，你可以介绍一下你自己是从哪里来的，然后现在是在做什么，然后怎样的安度晚年，怎么样花你的时间？
我是从中国湖南省过来的。
I'm from Hunan, China, Southern
来
China.
了将近15年了吧
15年了。
对。
Almost 15 years.
原来主要是在国内就是从事这个设计，就是设计院，湖南省轻工业设计院。
I used to be a designer in Hunan province in China.
后来因为2个女儿在美国就跟着过来了。
I have
移民到美国。
2 daughters, and we all immigrated to Hingham, Mass.
在美国生活很好，就是现在我是在那个彩虹，在一个养老中心吧，就是。
Right now, I'm pretty content and happy with my life here in the U.S. in Hingham, and I practice arts and also hang out with elderlies to share what we would like to do, monthly basis, and have activities together.
我住在离我女儿家附近的一个公寓里面。
So that will be the answers.
You mentioned design. You were a designer back in China. What kind of designer? Was it dress designer? What kind of
是什么
designer?
样的设计？你在中国做的时候？
中国就是轻工业，就是 light industry。
Light industry engineer kind of design, yeah, industrial engineer design.
对。
那是属于很高科技深度的科学了。
就是一些，比如说轻工业方面的都可以做设计的话。
Yeah. Industrial design.
What kind of? You mentioned you pursue arts here. You do arts. What kind of arts you're into?
就什么样的艺术和文化你比较热衷的和喜欢的？带来了对吧？
对，中国的话就是一般比较书画
，calligraphy，
就是文学方面都比较喜欢。
I especially like calligraphy and literature.
这个音乐的方面就是什么萨克斯啊，葫芦丝啊这些东西。
And folk music such as 葫芦丝 which is a very traditional music instrument that made with fruit gual, and it's very popular in folk music.
到这里生活挺好的，因为我们在彩虹的话，每天有很多活动，什么打乒乓球啊，下象棋啊，打扑克，然后每天到了彩虹以后都去游泳。
So I like to play ping pong as a recreational activity, which is a very popular sport in China. And calligraphy, of course, is like a moving meditation, hands-on activity. And sometimes I play saxophone besides the folk music instrument, 葫芦丝. And I, again, especially like literature and music.
Mr. Yu, how do you find living in Hingham? What kind of things you like here?
你对 Hingham 有什么你觉得很喜欢的？住了那么多年了，在这边有一些什么感想？你觉得你比较喜欢的方面 ？Hingham 这个 town。
Hingham 在这个地方，这个环境很好，很漂亮。这一带人们都很友善吧，就是。
I like the environment, the nature of Hingham. The big environment, I really enjoy the nature very much, and people are pretty friendly.
我在那个公寓里面就是我一个中国人，其他的都是本地人比较多了。
But I wish there are more Asian Americans here, and I can see more of me and who look like me here living in Hingham.
I was about to ask actually.
他刚下一个问题就是讲到这个问题。对。
Do you see a lot of diversity here, Asian American population, and as you mentioned, you would like to see more.
Yes.
But how do you get along with other population that you have here, white Americans, African Americans? How much diversity do you see here?
所以你要是在没有很多中国人的那个环境，你是怎么样？你觉得跟他们相处的话，有些什么心得？你怎么跟他们相处的合得来吗？然后，像其他的种族和文化的居民在这边，
这里的这个居民都很友好，他如果是出现有什么问题，他都会照顾我们。
出门。
对。那个，像我刚来的时候，他还给了一块地，因为知道我喜欢种菜，他就给了一块很大的地方，给我种菜呀，干什么？就是非常友好了，就对这些，
The other people that I interact with are very friendly, and they are also curious about my culture. And always be helpful, knowing that I'm coming from a different culture, speaking different languages, so people are pretty friendly. So I really enjoyed my experience with them. And sometimes we share about gardening, about what kind of vegetables we plant, and that's a great conversation because we always share different cuisine and food. And I think that's a way to enrich the depth of a community. Food is love. And this food is a cultural element, a very important cultural element to share.
Yeah, and I think in Chinese culture and most Asian culture, food, there are quite a lot of family activities built around food. So food has always become like a center, center at the culture, overall culture of a country.
对，他说的就是那个食物，就是让大家一起聚集的一个很重要的元素。所以像你种的菜，如果有和中国相关的一些菜的话，也可以就是和大家一起来分享，然后让他们知道我们在中国吃哪些菜。尤其在中国文化里面，我们都是在一起吃饭，对吧？吃饭然后一起分享的。
我种的菜有时候也给他们一起分享。
I always share my vegetables when it's the harvest time.
他们也很喜欢。
And the neighbors and friends in Hingham, they really like my homegrown vegetables.
他们也给我提供一些劳动的工具啊，什么锹之类的。
So they also provide sometimes some tools, because it's kind of hands-on activity. So if they have extra and they see I may not have that right tool to plant the garden, they will be very helpful to let me some and help me to have everything I needed.
我种菜的那个照片还登在他们那个很梗的那个报纸，镇上的报纸嘛。
哦，是吗？哦，
对。
There was a picture that they took for the town of Hingham of me and my vegetables. 是什么菜啊？当时种的是
cucumber。
哦，是黄瓜。
Squash。OK。
哦 ，OK。辣椒。因为 Hunan is a very special town because a lot of spicy peppers. So he bought the.
还有一种就是丝瓜吧 ，watermelon。
不是 watermelon. Winter melon.
Winter
melon 就是 it's kind of melon that we eat with soup in China. So we have that melon also grown in the garden.
When you came here 15 years back, and you have sort of a language barrier. Does that affect when you get along with other elderly people in your area, or other things like when you go to a restaurant or by yourself? Does that affect a lot? Is that a challenge?
当你 15年来到美国的时候，在语言有障碍的时候，你觉得在生活方面有一些什么样的不便，或者是你当时有一些什么克服的方法，还有一些什么作为新移民的刚刚来到美国的一些心得吗？
开始来的时候，这里提供了有这个免费的英语学校，就是晚上学习的，一般是在昆西。
So in the South Shore, there are resources to help elderly to learn English. I try to take advantage of those programs so that I can learn the language, but it is hard to learn when you are old. But I'm trying to overcome that, and I'm still, challenging with that. It's a language that I wanted to learn well, but it will take a long time.
When you came here, with language definitely seems to be one of the biggest barriers, and it does get difficult when you come at a later age. So what about the other factors instead of language? If we keep the language aside, what were other challenges that you faced? Because culturally it's very different country than China, and how did you navigate through those challenges?
除了语言以外在文化上面有很多和中国不一样的元素，您是怎么样克服文化的冲突还有一些困难的呢？
因为在美国的话，因为都是多民族，这里本身就是民族很多的，他们都互相都比较关心，他有些比如说我们有时候到了一个地方问路，他们都很热情的跟我们指去的，就是哪怕是冬天很冷的时候，他们都用自己的计算机就把那个东西打出来，然后给我们
翻译。
对，翻译告诉你，很热情，那确实是。所以虽然语言不通的话，也不是感到很困难，就是这样的。
So I was having difficulty in navigating the language and the culture, but people are just so helpful. I think the generosity of the extent how people help me, including taking out their form to translate what I said in their form so they can hear or see how it is in English, it really helps me a lot. And many times, they went out of their way to help me find directions, especially when I'm lost. And I'm really grateful for people's generosity and the extent of helpfulness. And that helps me to navigate and overcome so many difficulties despite of the language barrier.
When you got here, is Hingham is the only place you stayed, or you have lived in other parts of America and traveled? And what is the difference do you feel being in Hingham and the other parts of the country?
15年前您是就直接来了 Hingham 吗？还有在其他的就是州或者是城市或者镇有住过吗？如果是有的话，您觉得有一些什么就是比较上的区别和一些感受吗？
我因为小女儿在路易斯安那新奥尔良，她在那里也住过很长时间。她是那个地方是个热带城市了，比这里气氛还是很不一样的。
So my younger daughter is in Louisiana, New Orleans, which is hot. It's a lot warmer than New England. So that's the difference with Hingham. 还有什么其他的？
在那里呢，他们的这个教会比较，基督教的教会活动特别多。他们像我女儿，他们几乎每个星期都要做星期天是礼拜。在
新奥尔良是吧？
对，就是在一个星期，另外还有一次就是，所有的教徒在一起团聚在一起。
就能够感受到一个社区的温暖。
对。
So before everyone moved to Hingham, I experienced a lot of community sense in Louisiana with a lot of church activities. So we feel that it's very diverse in the church, so that people can feel belong and feel not as lonely. That's how I remember my experience outside of Hingham before.
when you moved to here, you have spent most of your life in China. When you moved to America, like what was your first thing, like a cultural shock that it is way too different than China? There are so many things that are different than China, but what was felt like a cultural shock to you?
当你刚刚来美国的时候，因为有很多的文化区别嘛和那个冲突，你觉得最大的对你来说，就是对你觉得文化的冲撞最大的是什么？
也就是语言问题吧，其他的虽然习俗不太一样，但是我们都能够比较接受了。
因为你在中国的时间比在美国的时间多了大概一半。
那不止一半可能大概1/6吧。
Yeah, I did spend a lot more time in China, so the language was really the biggest one. Which the earlier you are, the younger you are, the easier to learn a new language. So that was the biggest 语言是吧？
对
，because
美国是一个开放的很民主的社会，就是所以包容性也很大，这样。
So America is like a melting pot with so many different immigrants living here. So it's very democratic, and I feel it's very inclusive in many ways. And lifestyle, customs, it's kind of easier sometimes to adjust because there's so many other immigrants as well. But language is the biggest.
Yeah, I want to follow up with that question. You did mention that there is like a lot of inclusivity and it's a melting pot. A lot of people from diverse culture come here and become one. What are some of the cultural biases or social taboos that were back in China that you don't see here and you kind of feel that thank God it's not here?
So 你有没有在感觉在这个文化和一些其他的区别方面，尤其是在中国，你觉得你体验的一些，然后在中国没有，在美国没有，然后你觉得比较放松一些，觉得有一些是不是在中国你觉得可能不太喜欢的一些习俗啊，或者是一些层次啊，然后在美国你觉得哎呀好了，现在不需要担心这些了，比如说面子啊什么的。就您觉得您觉得最大的一种解脱是哪个方面？
这美国是一个言论自由了，就是各方面都很自由的国家。你可以各种各样的信仰、宗教都是允许同时存在的。在中国的话呢，就是比较单一一点。主要是信那个佛教的，就是再一个现在呢也有信基督教啊。伊斯兰教这个也特别多，但是，像中国、美国这样的话呢，就是这个宗教气氛也还是很浓厚的，特别是基督教。我们一来的话也参加了这个教会，基督教的，学习了很多，也受到很多那个启发。
So my reflections are as follows. I feel it can be very isolated, one or two things that we can share, such as, religion or speech. But here, everyone's voice can be heard. So it's more diverse in terms of self-expression, especially so many different religions can be getting along all in one place. It can be tough at the beginning in China, but now it's kind of more so as well inclusive. I feel in America, there's a much easier acceptance of diversity and things that people disagree with each other.
You have like your family here, and then you have been here. You must be having your grandchildren, and what do you feel are like the privileges that American people have that back in China, like the same age people won't have those privileges.
你像全家移民过来了哈，很多年了，那孩子也长大了，也很成功，然后孙子孙女也非常非常孝顺，也很成功。你觉得就是说他们的生活和未来是有哪一些，就是可能在美国这边可能会更加宽松，能够实现他们的梦想，还和在中国有没有一些就是你觉得会有一些不一样的一些区别？就是你觉得他们会有一个什么样的不同的体验？
他们其实像我们的这个孙子都是在美国是出生的，他们根本就对中国反而不太了解，只有通过他的父母，就是我们女儿他们，能够讲述一些，所以他们现在也在学中文了，进了大学以后呢，还是继续中文，还是国内的一些民俗因素，他还是继续传统保持下去。但是呢，能够到了美国以后，就是他们自己的这个爱好、自己的特长，就能够更加自由的发挥了。
就这边的那个大平台会能够让他们更多的来尝试，
对，
自由发挥。I feel the kids they were born here, my grandchildren in America. I feel they have tried to learn the language, but they will have much wider choice of what they want to do and be able to fail and get up if they fail, so they can really try so many different ways of success and not be restricted with the definition of success from their parents or grandparents from China or ancestors, but more of a much easier self-expression in pursuing what they really like to do.
Tell us a little bit about all the cultural knickknacks we have here. I think there is some food and your dress as well.
我们带了一些文化的装饰，还有您穿的这个衣服哈。您可以讲一讲这个红色，然后还有现在我们摆在我们面前的这几个装饰，您觉得有一些什么样的特别的意义吗？对您来说？
这个看起来是很喜庆的样子的，就是它这里面也有一些中国的元素啊。这个是狮子吧？
对，狮子。
对，这个在中国是经常见到的，而且在那个春节的时候，我们的节日主要是在美国主要是圣诞节了，感恩节，但在中国最重要的节日就是那个春节。春节的话就是有舞狮了，就是玩伦敦啊、舞狮这样的。对，这个，所以有很多中国的元素在这里。是。
So you can see it's mostly red, and it's a very joyful and happy color. And the dress has the character for Fu, which means prosperity. The one that upside down means you get prosperity coming in. So there's one that is, the order is like this, that's the right order of the character, but this one is upside down. It means that the prosperity is coming back. And this is a light for Lunar New Year as well. And this one, it's the line dance. It's very typical for Lunar New Year, and which is coming, the Year of the Dragon. So those are all important elements of Asian culture, especially countries celebrate Lunar New Year, that which is many Asian countries. And this is a little bunny dress. That's a traditional dress the bunny is wearing, and it's a combination of gold and red, which are also very lucky color. And this line here has a golden ball. Again, it's a lucky color. And it's a lot of Chinese ancient coin. So it means that prosperity, you can have good economic outcome of the coming year. And kids will light this up during the Lunar New Year. And you actually see the line dance. I was in one of the women's troupe. I was holding the head. I was the head. And there's two people on the back. So it's a teamwork when you do the line dance, and because I teach Mandarin Chinese, and also as an author and an advocate, so we do a lot of cultural workshop for Asian American youth, especially the Chinese language. And Hingham has a very good Chinese language at Hingham High School, and they had exchange before with schools, so they had host family. That was a really special program, I think, towards China, and then we really appreciate it, and then we hope that we can contribute, to the student club more, and also cultivate that cultural activities and learning within the communities. Because I was helping with the AAPI, inclusive social justice movement and climate justice. I think it's so important for students not only learning the language, but knowing what AAPIs are facing in terms of challenges, especially after COVID, so that they can be mindful of how to educate the general public, because people don't trust what they do not understand. So in order to really build that understanding, we need a lot of education, such as school programs, such as community dialogue like this on Immigrant Diaries with Mr. Yu and many others, so that we can build that understanding, so we can build the trust among each other. And of course, food is love. So we have, this is 冰糖葫芦. Basically, it's shashli with strawberry, or sha is a special Asian food with honey. And it's kind of like a rock kind of sweet. It's very traditional. And this is a traditional kids snack. It's kind of sweet, but it's not too sweet. But it's very fruity. 这是山楂哈，你小时候吃过吗？
吃过。
That's one of his childhood memory in snack. So we grow up eating this, and this too. So this is more like northern China. We have a lot of this in Beijing, and of course in Hunan, it's a lot of spicy food, and the cuisine is the best. Because I also sometimes teach Asian cooking, and we always share so much different flavors and ingredients, and it was really nice. And he likes to cook as well. 你喜欢做什么样的菜啊？最喜欢？
做菜就是中国，反正在这里跟美国也差不多，鱼啊、肉啊，再一个炒青菜啊，再一个沙拉、凉拌都有。对。
I especially like to cook fish and pork, but also learn to love salad because it's fresh vegetable. It's very healthy. Yeah.
So you, when you decided to come to America, was there any American dream in your mind, and do you think you have achieved that dream?
当您在来美国的时候，是不是有一个美国梦？您觉得你想实现？您觉得您的这个美国梦实现了吗？
美国，我记得我第一次来美国是87年，因为我们那个有一个项目也在美国考察。那个时候中国还没有改革开放，那在美国的话，那确实这个环境都特别好。我们的这个美国梦呢，就是现在中国也提出一个中国梦了，就是中国要每一个人都要达到那个小康水平，就是生活都，而且中国也有很大的变化，在近20多年的话，就是我们希望的就是世界共同的和平呢，就是一起没有战争，这就是我们的最好的梦了，就是。
So I feel when I first visited the U.S. in 1987, it was a really special feeling of coming to America because China was not as open, and it's a place everyone wants to come from China. And as gradually, when China opened up, I feel there's a lot of development, and I feel I did achieve my dream because everyone is here now with my family, but I feel also people in China, they're also reaching their China dream as China being more developed and open. So he feel very happy that both places, can help youth to achieve their dreams, no matter where they are. And he's praying for collaborations, no more wars in the world, and have more peace, love, and unities. And we actually have a poetry book. It's called The Shape of Peace, Love, and Unity. And that's what we would like to, spread the message is to have everyone get along with each other, and no matter where they are, and they can reach their dreams. And he's very happy that he had his American dreams.
That's so beautiful.
所以您觉得您的美国梦，其实在1987年就实现了，然后现在只是一个在更加延伸的一个过程中哈。
是的。
对 ，so right now it's more like extended, of my lifespan here to enjoy the simple joys.
Any last thoughts or parting thoughts for our viewers? Anything you want to say to all people who have immigrated from different countries, or people who have immigrated from China and still struggling, or trying to get over things? What do you have to say to them?
你有就是最后的一些感想，就是给可能还在就是磨合过程中的一些新的移民，有没有一些给他们的建议，或者是一些您的一些智慧，让他们能够尽量少走弯路？
能够到美国来，反正也是很多人的愿望了，到美国生活。现在我看到美国的移民也是通过各种途径来到美国的。一个的话就是任何人的就是一定要遵守美国的法律，遵守这些东西，反正就是不论和平，就是民主，这都是最根本的要素了。所以到了美国的话，就能够一起抛出任何这个极其成见呢，就是说那个在把自己的好的一面，就是说积极的、主动的一面都拉出来，为这个美国的和谐社会啊，这个民主社会做出自己的一份贡献，谢谢。
讲得非常好。So for people to come to America, it's already an achievement that they got here. So I feel there's a lot of things they can learn. And as long as you don't break the laws and be a good citizen and cultivate the inclusion in the society of the melting pot, you would do well. And I just, hope that people can agree to be disagreeable when they have different opinion without hurting each other, but embrace the idea of peace, love, and unity, and just, getting along, starting from your neighbors, communities, families. And I think the world peace will be achieved because people come to America to achieve their American dreams. And we're all here as a community, and we should love each other and all do something to contribute your talent and your culture and yourself to the society of making it more peaceful for everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yu. That was very motivational, very inspiring message to all the viewers. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it was a great pleasure to talk to you.
谢谢您的智慧和深言分享，这是非常非常
谢谢你们，
谢谢你
提供了这么一个好的场所，谢谢。
Thank you for the great platform of Immigrant Diaries story and the Harbor Media platform. This is a great conversation. Hopefully, we can continue that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching Immigration Diaries, My American Dream. I'm your host, Sujata Ramteke. I'll see you next time.